Not really particularly sure what to think, to be honest. Oh, I came into this thinking I was going to have so much to say, and I really, really don't have anything constructive to add that's not already going to have been said in 1,000 different ways by 1,000 different people. Because, honest to God, Michael Oliver is man of the match, easily man of the match for this performance, Michael Oliver, because that was an absolute shit show. That was absolutely dreadful from everything involved, just the whole thing, the whole spectacle, the whole outcome, the way things went for the match. That was an absolutely dreadful display. And just want to pre-emphasize this by saying I don't think we deserve to win. I think Liverpool were actually arguably one of our worst performances this season, or one of, and not to downplay everything so much because I know where we are, I know how well we've done, but as an actual display, as a performance as a whole, that was absolutely piss poor. That was dreadful, and I'm not just. I can't fathom the word. I genuinely cannot fathom enough words to describe the amount of hatred and pure. The whole thing stinks, and I think the officiating of that match as a whole, as a general, I just, I can't even get words out. Like, it's really, really pissed me off. Just to go back to it, I don't think Liverpool deserved to win this match. This was the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park, and it was. I think it wasn't a case of it was a great match. I think it was just a case of both teams were pretty poor, and it was a very physical game. It felt like a very classic Merseyside derby. You go back 20, 30 years, and that was what you expect the Merseyside derby to be. It was full of aggression. People were getting stuck in. Conor Bradley being a prime example of that. Beto up front, he was really getting stuck into the likes of Van Dijk and Canate. Diaz was doing it at one point. Salah was involved in quite a few. It was a good match from that perspective in terms of the mutual watching that match thinking, oh, come here to Merseyside derby, like this is what you expect. You expect to see physicality, you expect to see that kind of play. But as an actual on-pitch display, as an actual match itself, from our perspective, from a Liverpool fan perspective, we were dreadful tonight. I think that was one of the games where there was no rhythm. We couldn't get things going. We couldn't get things moving in the direction we wanted. There was no. It just felt like nothing was clicking. Nothing was connecting. We had the McAllister goal, which was our first shot for, I believe, like the first half hour, 35 minutes. That led to a goal. Beyond that, it just felt like there was no rhythm. No one could find anyone for the first half of that match in particular. It wasn't until Trent came on that things changed. But I don't understand how you can get results when you've got officiating to this low degree of expertise, to this low level, because that was a absolutely shocking display from Michael Oliver. There were so many things in that match, and I don't want to take anything away from Everton because I think Everton played. They got the game they wanted. They wanted the physical battle. They wanted the scrap. They wanted to go into this and not try and outplay us, not try and outpass us, try and make things aggressive. They wanted this to be a physical match. They wanted to go into this and absolutely bully us off the ball. And for the first half in particular, they fucking did. They absolutely battered us for that first half, Everton. They were so aggressive. They were playing through us at points. And I was just thinking, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't look like the Liverpool we've been seeing all season. This was us. We looked uncomfortable, and I don't know if it was the atmosphere. I don't know if it's the occasion. I don't know if it was maybe a bit of bounce off the Plymouth game. I don't know, but something just wasn't right. Passes were going nowhere. No one really knew where each other was supposed to be. There was no connectivity between the team, and going forward, we looked awful. As I tweeted that before, I think I'm sick of Diaz in this number 9 system. It was a cool experiment for a bit. It worked against Leverkusen, Tottenham, Ipswich. It does not work against these type of teams with these rugged defenders who aren't going to give you a lot of space. Didn't work against Forest. Didn't work against Fulham, I believe it was. It certainly didn't work here, and it hasn't worked for weeks now because he has not scored in such a long time, Luis Diaz, and having him up front is just not the answer. I don't know what Nunez has done or hasn't done to warrant not being in this team, but fuck me, that was awful. Like, just overall up front, dreadful. And I'm not going to chew everyone out because I'm not going to say this is a dreadful. As a season as a whole, it's been phenomenal what we've done so far. We're still top of the league. We're still 7 points clear. But that was Everton, who, yes, they've had some good results. Yes, things have gone their way recently. They beat Tottenham. They've won 3 of David Moyes' first 4 league games. They just lost to Bournemouth. But it's Everton. they're still fighting relegation. They're still near the bottom of the table. They're still in a position where they could go down, and we should be going there and absolutely destroying them. They've got so many injuries. There's no Calvert-Lewin for a start. They're missing so many key attackers in that squad. There's no Calvert-Lewin. There's no Dwight McNeil. There's no Chimiti, key players. There's no Amanda Broya. There's no Mangala. There's so many players out, and we made it look easy for them. We made it look absolutely easy, and we played exactly how they wanted us to play. We couldn't get the tempo to what we wanted it to be. We couldn't slow it down at times we needed to. We couldn't speed it up at times where we needed to. And we fell for Everton's trap. They wanted this to be physical, and that's exactly what they got. And there was no one, I mean, bar Mo Salah, bar, I think, Canate for large portions of this match up until the second goal, which isn't even his fault, because when you get shoved out the way, it's pretty hard to defend. It's pretty hard to actually get a ball in the air when you're getting pushed out the fucking way by the attacker, which isn't given. Other than them, and Trent, when he came on as well, I thought he looked quite good. There was just nothing. No one was looking like they wanted to even attempt to try and break through. I think the biggest moment of a player actually running at the opposition, actually trying to make something happen, was Salah towards the end of the second half when he beat two players and then dragged down to no foul, no nothing. And it's another shitty bit of officiating. And do you know what? I wanted this to be memorable. I wanted the result, of course, but I wanted this to be a memorable Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. I wanted to see one of those classic matches that absolutely, like, I wanted a good Merseyside derby. I wanted it to be the last one at Goodison Park. It's one of the most historic grounds in football in history, and it's been absolutely overshadowed by shit officiating, where it felt like every tackle that was given, despite it being one of the most physical matches I've seen in a long time, was immediately a yellow card, killed the momentum. It was stop-start. There was nothing about this to look at and think that's positive, because once again we've had to be dragged out by Mo Salah, who is not even potentially going to be here in a few months' time, and he's still the main reason we're getting goals and assists. It's not bad. We're not in a bad spot. We're still top of the league. We're still in a cup final. We're still in the Champions League. But that today had to be the win that sort of said we're going nowhere. I know Arsenal have just got Kai Havertz injured. I know they've still got players who could feasibly, they've got a lot of people out, but they're not out of this title race. We're not out of this title race. We're still, obviously, I feel like I'm spiraling a bit, because it's really, really shit what's just happened. I think it is just I'm just pissed off at the situation more than I am the actual performance as such. I don't know. I don't know. There's so many different sort of emotions. I suppose we'll sort of go through bits that I thought were good, sort of go through the players and, give a bit of a discussion on how we think it went. I honestly, performance, I think we couldn't really get going. No one looked like even remotely like they wanted to try and make anything happen going forward, or they just couldn't. They couldn't find space. And I've said before, I think this Diaz as a number 9 thing, it was an interesting experiment at a time where Jota was injured. Nunez wasn't making anything happen. Diaz, he's good against that sort of back three when there's space, things are spread out. You've got Mo Salah, Gakpo, who can spread players out. But this is an Everton team who's built around, or under David Moyes, certainly, don't leave your line, don't fall for the trap, don't create space, just stay where you are, sit deep, and they're not going to be able to do anything. And we couldn't do a thing. It took a McAllister running into the box, putting off the defenders to actually get the goal. And even then, it was something that Pickford thought was going out and probably could have saved. We looked devoid up front at points. And it's not, again, it was a shit match. It was a shit result. And this is not me saying that this is a long time issue. This is something that's fucking, this is something that's stemming up, and it's something that's going to really affect us going forward. It won't, because let's be honest, we're still smashing it. We're still going to smash it. This is just a shit result. And there are matches similar to this where it just feels like up front we really do struggle at points. For every West Ham, Man United at Old Trafford, Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, There's the Nottingham Forest 1-0 defeat, the Forest 1-1 draw. This match where it just feels like there's such a lack of connectivity up front, like we just can't fashion anything unless Salah's making something wonderful happen. Shocking behaviour. Thank you, babe. And said, Everton doing tour of the city tomorrow, celebrating dropping 2 points at home. It honestly felt like that. That reaction at the end, I understand it. I do get it. I suppose if you're Everton in this scenario where relegation or surviving relegation is your achievement this season, congratulations. Van Dijk said it at the end. He said this was their cup final. And honestly, I get it. It's very similar to West Ham in leaving the Bowling Ground. They got that win over Man United in 2016, I think it was. They got that 2-1 win. In a match where no one thought they could do it. And this had everything behind this. It was that same feeling. And as it was going on, the only thing that kept ticking in my mind was Jagielka's goal from 2014 at Anfield, that last-minute screamer, which got them the draw in that season, Brendan Rodgers' season, I believe it was. It's that. And for Everton, this was massive for them. This was their cup final Merseyside derby at Goodison. You don't want to get smashed. You don't want the 4-1 from a few seasons ago. You don't want the 3-1 of 2001. You don't want that to be your final memory of Goodison. But why did we make it so fucking easy for them? Why the fuck did we make it such an easy match for them? We fell for every physical battle. We fell for exactly what they want. Beto, fuck me. If you're making Van Dijk look as weak as he did, you're doing something right. And Beto, honest to God, full credit to him, because he's not going to be one of these attackers who's your out and out poacher and goal scorer. Obviously, he got the goal, but that was such a well worked free kick. I'm not going to take anything away from Everton for that. But he bullied that back line. He absolutely bullied Konate. He absolutely bullied Van Dijk. He fully deserved. Look, Everton deserved something. If anything, Everton actually deserved the win because we were so shocking on this day. And again, it's frustrating. And Michael Oliver, man, like, I don't know. I've commented on David Coote, and obviously all the stuff's come out of him recently, so we're not going to dwell on that too much. But I just don't understand how these can be considered the best match officials in the world or in Europe. You've got people like that, like Michael. Today, there was so many times where there were tackles and moments. The McAllister one, he puts his hand back, supposedly pokes. I forget who it is, but I think it's James Garner, pokes him in the eye, even though it's on the chin. Yeah, foul given. The high boot that he apparently caused, which didn't actually touch him. The Salah incident where he gets dragged down, nothing is given. Konate gets shoved in the back, where I've seen penalties given for less than that. David Luiz against us when we played Arsenal literally pulled Salah's shirt, didn't even hinder the play, and it was a penalty. Konate is getting full on shoved into the fucking other side of the box, and nothing is given. Absolutely dick all is given, and it's just they've got VAR and they've got all these different things in place to ensure that this doesn't happen, and yet we keep getting these absolute dog shit decisions being made. And another thing, and this is it's me spiraling on a rant, but I get that when people go down injured, that the time has to get added on. It's at the discretion of the match official. But that goal was scored in the 97th minute. Time was out in the 95th, and I know that they went down injured. I know that they went down hurt, but miraculously, by the power of the Almighty, they've healed and they were absolutely fine to celebrate like it was no one's business. But that match should have ended much earlier than it did. It should have. And this is probably sour grapes, and it is probably me being bitter and pissed off at the moment. But tomorrow I'll wake up and be absolutely fine with it and still think, hey, top of the league, cup final, etc., etc. It's hard being me, but it's just the officiating baffles me. And VAR is brought in to eliminate these. And I know there's fault. I know that there's things that are going to come up naturally, and that happens. There is going to be mistakes. We've seen that a billion times. But you've got this technology in place to be able to take as much time as you need to get the correct decision. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it's 10 minutes. I don't care if it's 10 seconds. If it gets the right decision, that's absolutely fine. And we saw it against, I think it was Tottenham recently, where Salah got fouled, but because it took place too early on, nothing could happen and be done about it. What's the point in all these innovations and technology if nothing is going to come from it, if nothing sustainable or correct is going to come from it? It's okay because they can talk, though, to the stadiums, fucking whoopity-doo, like it changes anything. It's just Michael Oliver today is the one that's going to go down in the story of this. Shouldn't have counted. No, it shouldn't have. Absolutely bollocks. Absolute utter bollocks. But no, like, to focus on our sort of aspect of things a bit more, because like I said, this was not a good performance from us. This was awful to an extent. Like, I've got the match ratings as I'm going to present onto the screen, because some of them I agree with, some of them not so much. Like, just sticking to the Liverpool side of things, Alisson, I mean, he didn't really have much to do all match. Alisson, that tends to be the case. Everton actually did have more shots than us, though. If you're going through the whole 90 minutes, they had a higher expected goal, took more total shots. Alisson only had one save to make. Didn't have a vast amount to do throughout this match. So to give him a sort of, this is on SofaScore, by the way, but to give him a 6.4, I think it's just absolutely fair. There's nothing really to judge him on. Wasn't great, wasn't awful. Conor Bradley, I said on the transfer room a few days ago, I think that Conor Bradley was probably better suited to this match, because this is what I anticipated it was going to be. I thought this was going to be that physical battle. I thought this was going to be Everton really getting stuck in like they did. And for the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought Conor Bradley looked really good. He looked really up for it. And then I think Everton just started playing on that. They just looked at Bradley and just thought, there's our in. There's the player we can really get at. There's the person we can make something happen down that side, because his head's going. He couldn't sort of calm himself down at moments where he needed to. He lacked composure at points. He was too desperate to get stuck into those tackles. And it really had a major effect, and he got that early yellow. I think as soon as he started during that second half at the beginning, when Everton started just immediately throwing balls down the left, I think Slot realised it and just thought, get him off, just get him the fuck off, because he can't keep doing what he's doing. He is going to give away another foul. He probably is going to get a card. And speaking of cards, Curtis Jones is now sent off, and Arne Slot is sent off for the next match against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Anfield. Fucking fantastic. Which I suppose we're going to in a bit. Konate, I mean, 7.1. Yeah, I think him and Van Dijk didn't particularly have good games. I don't think they had bad games. I think they were probably some of our better players, because the amount of balls that got lashed into the air, like just purely looking at Konate's numbers alone from a defensive aspect, 8 clearances. He won his one ground duel, won all 8 of his aerial duels. Like, that tells you all you need to know about how good he was in this match. And by comparison, you're then putting that next to Van Dijk, who, same sort of story. If it wants to actually look, there we go. 2 ground duels of 3, 5 aerial duels, 1 of 9, 11 clearances. Like, they were both fantastic in the air, but it was on the ground where they really started to struggle. And Beto just was having the time of his life against them. I think at points he was backing up into them. They couldn't get any sort of they couldn't win any physical battle. And I was a bit shocked, because Van Dijk, I can't recall a time where an attacker has sort of done that to Virgil to that extent. Like, he's so big, he's so powerful, and Beto made it look easy at points. I think backing into him didn't do anything really wrong all match, but yeah. And again, say what you want about the goal, like, the free kick goal, Konate is culpable, I suppose, but I don't think anyone really expected Everton to have the intelligence to do that, let's be honest. And then the second goal is just an absolute shambles. Van Dijk's playing him marginally offside, but at that point, you haven't got the sort of, in those moments when you just want to get it done, you're not in the mind frame to be able to sort of think, play the offside trap. You just want to get rid of it. You just want to get the fucking rid of it, and it didn't work. Taking off and away from Tarkowski, it's a fucking wonder goal. Like, it's such a class finish. But we just needed that little bit of concentration at the end. We needed players not to get shoved to the other side of the fucking pitch and have the foul not given. It all went out the window, the composure, the 2 minutes added on. I think people were just looking at this as it was done and dusted. I think the Everton players were looking at this as it was done and dusted. Like, no one just looked like this match was going to continue. We all thought this was done. And my girlfriend made a good point, actually. She was saying, look at the stewards. Like, even they think this is done. Like, no one was prepared to sort of react to that goal going in. And the second the goal went in, the stewards all got up, shit themselves, and started blocking off the fans. Like, no one thought this match was going to go that way. And Tarkowski, 100th appearance for Everton, 100th start, gets that phenomenal goal. But, it's one of those things. I suppose if you're an Everton fan, that's one of those moments that's going to live forever in your memory. For me, it is as well, like the Jagielka goal, like I mentioned earlier on. But it's just fucking infuriating. Andrew Robertson didn't really do anything right again subbed off for Simicast. The more I'm seeing Robertson, the more it just feels like he struggles to keep up with the pace of it, even against an Everton team who are not quick, were very static at points. Their only real major threat was the physicality they posed up front. Robertson just looks out of it, and he just doesn't look like he's getting back to that point. And I'm not writing him off because it's Robertson. He's won everything you can possibly win with us. He is one of the best left backs in Premier League history, but fuck me, we need to start addressing the left back issue because Simicast, as much as I think he's good, he'd get into like 50-60% of Premier League teams. I just think there's a drop off in quality on that left hand side. I think Simicast has stepped up slightly, but Robertson dipped. And that's not to say that Simicast is suddenly amazing or Robertson's awful. It's just they're both sort of average at this moment in time, and things just aren't going the way that they would like it to. It's an area of the pitch we really do need to address is Andrew Robertson's position, because that match sort of signified to me. I can understand against Arsenal where Saka beat you. I can understand against Chelsea with Madueke. I can understand Cunha. I can understand like Hudson-Odoi, stuff like that. But this is an Everton team where on the right hand side you've got Lindstrom, who he made it look easy for him at points, and yeah, it's something that needs addressing. Gravenberch, I think that's the first time this season Gravenberch's been subbed off. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think in the Premier League, that's the first time this season Gravenberch has actually been subbed off. It was a bit of a shock. I thought he was going to stay on. Everton started opening up. They started spreading themselves out a bit more onto the wings, and it felt like we were getting space in the middle. I expected Gravenberch fully to stay on. I didn't think he was going to come off. I thought he was going to get those turning, find that space that he was able to get into and actually make something happen. Didn't happen. Didn't actually happen at all. Instead, we brought Jones on, who, you know, the second goal down to Jones as much as it was Salah to an extent, but yeah, I don't know. No one ticked. No one looked great in this match. McAllister looked good. Got the assist. He, oh no, not the assist. Sorry, got the goal from Salah's ball across. He looked okay, but again, nothing particularly special or groundbreaking from him. 71% accurate passes, and that honestly summed up the match for Liverpool. Like, if I can find the passing accuracy, that'd be absolutely phenomenal. But we just nothing. There we go. So accurate passes. So 438 accurate passes. Final third, 66%, 36% long balls were accurate. 11% of our crosses were accurate. Like, it was just, that was the big area where we really lacked. We couldn't make things click. We couldn't make things gel. Normally in this team, when people are picking up the ball in the middle, they're distributing it to someone or they're playing it off for someone, like we saw Salah with that back heel to Trent where he puts it through to Nunez. That's what you expect to see. It wasn't happening, and there were so many times where they were trying those back heels, they were trying to do the fancy little 1-2s, make things happen quick, and no one was where they were meant to be. No one was anticipating it. No one was prepared to get on the ball and actually make things happen, go forward, and create chances. Diaz is not the number 9. Diaz is not the out-and-out number 9. I don't understand why we're persisting with playing Diaz in this position of the central attacker, because he's not good at coming deep and picking up the ball to create. He's good at picking up the ball in space, running at people, trying to beat a man. And that's what led to the second goal. When he's out wide, he's actually got it and he's able to take on someone and he puts it into the middle and Jones wins it back. That's when he's at his best. He's not good picking it up and then trying to make things happen. He's not Firmino. It doesn't happen. He can't pick it up from deep and run with it to distribute it correctly to someone. It's not his type of play. He's better when he's running in behind into space and trying to make things happen that way. Nunez, the last match, Tottenham, he was fantastic in that deep attacking role. He was fantastic when he was winning the ball deep and he was trying to make things happen. It was the first game where you looked at it and thought, this is what you are here to do. Maybe you're not a goal scorer. Maybe you're someone who can just be a physically imposing player. Not to compare to the standards of Beto, because Beto's, he's had a flash in the pan, well done. Wouldn't be in the team if Calvert-Lewin was injured. Or wasn't injured even. Diaz is just not that. It's not his game. It's not his role. Gakpo was pretty much non-existent. Salah's the only one in this team today where you looked at him and thought, you can make things happen. And again, we're so reliant on him. And it's not a complaint because he's the best right winger in Premier League history. That is not up for debate. He is just the best right winger in Premier League history. But we relied on him again. And if he wasn't there, we'd have been absolutely fucked. The assist to McAllister is spot on. The goal he scores, spot on. Like he is dragging us to success at points. And that's not me saying we've been shit and he's stepping up like Suarez in 2013-14, where the performances were half-arsed, the team was half-arsed, and he's the only one contributing, and Sturridge pops up occasionally, like Sterling, Coutinho, players like that. But there's so many moments where if Salah's not in the team, we're fucked. And this was another match today where if he wasn't doing what he was doing, if he wasn't dragging us to that point, we'd been absolutely buggered. And it's something that needs addressing because he can't do it all on his own all the time. There's plenty of other attackers in that team. There's plenty of other players who can contribute. We just need to see more from them. Gakpo has been in fantastic form recently. We know he's capable of doing it. He's been scoring non-stop. He won our Player of the Month for a reason in January. But Nunez is still non-existent. Diaz in this number 9 role isn't working. Jota's sort of dried up slightly because of injuries and because he's having to come off the bench in dying minutes and try and make things happen. Chiesa's non-existent at the moment. Take away the Accrington goal. Nothing really going on there. But this today was just... we couldn't get going. Everton played not even phenomenally. I think they just knew how to beat us or how to cause us nightmares. They were winning every second ball. Physically, they were bullying us at points. We were our own worst enemy at points. It was just a poor day. And it's still not the end of the world, I guess. Like, it's disappointing more because of the occasion. I think we wanted to spoil this Goodison Merseyside derby farewell for Everton more so than we did want to win the match. I think this was very sort of... there was a lot of story going into this. There was a lot of different things that were happening. Obviously, David Moyes back in the Merseyside derby as manager. There was a lot of people on our bench, Leon Osman, John Heitinga, like all those kind of players. It just felt like while I was watching it, the commentary, it just felt like a storybook, and that ending was what you would expect. It was so perfectly placed for Everton to get that result at the end because we allowed it to happen. We were dreadful on the day. Hopefully, moving forward, things get better because they can't get worse than that, surely. That was deflating. 97th minute goal when it should have ended in the 95th. Curtis Jones and Arne Slot now sent off. But, I mean, just to touch on it before we go, I think Doucouré is a wanker. Just in this, to put it blunt. I think Doucouré, I'm not... I've seen all these stories recently of people saying the celebrations, you can't be... not offensive, but you can't wind people up. Like Jamie Vardy would be getting fined every other week. You do it all you want. If that was flipped and say we got that last minute goal and it was Canate scored it and he ran up to the Everton fans and started celebrating, I'd be fucking all for it. Absolutely go for it. Crack on. Do what you want. Shit on the floor. Celebrate it. I don't care. It's because it's happened to us that we've got so wound up. And I think Jones' reaction was warranted, but he didn't have to get as aggressive as he did. I think he just got caught up in the emotion, he got caught up in the moment. Stupidity. And it's nice that it's the local lad who's sort of been dragged into this, who's looked at this and thought, nah, fuck that, I'm stopping that. Great, fine, fair enough, show the passion all you want, but it's now cost us going forward because he's missing the next game against Wolves. It's cost us Slot, who's missing the next game against Wolves. There was a sort of lack of composure at the end. The emotions got the better of everyone. Things went tits up real quick towards the end. And yeah, last Merseyside derby at Goodison, it wasn't the 3-1 of 2001. It was very similar to the 3-3 of 2013, my favourite match. And I suppose it's my favourite because of how end-to-end it was, how exciting it was. This, very similar. You know, goals from free kicks, goal scorers you wouldn't expect, physical battles, yellow cards galore, people getting sent off at the end, a last-minute winner, albeit not for us. Fantastic world-class display from Mo Salah. Like, this was a perfect Merseyside derby if you're looking at this from a neutral perspective. I'm obviously looking at it in a pissed off perspective because of what happened with Doucouré being a wanker, with the last minute goal from Tarkowski, with all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And But from a neutral perspective, and I think if you're watching this as a sort of, you want the certain matches where you think, you know, City, Liverpool, you look over the past few years, United, Arsenal, you go that sort of 2004, 2005 period. There's certain moments in time which perfectly encapsulate fixtures. And I think this match is what you'd expect from a Merseyside derby. It was a physical battle, it was a mental battle. There was so much riding on it. The atmosphere was incredible. There was last minute goal, phenomenal moments from both teams. And I think that it's a shit result the way it ended, but I think that this was the only way it could have ended at Goodison. Everton didn't get all 3 points. We are still 7 points clear at the top of the league. We've come away from this with a point more than we had. We have lost that game in hand cushion, which I like having. It makes me feel a bit safer. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not the end of the world. It could be much worse. As a Merseyside derby, it will go down as one of the greats because of what happened and everything that's went on. From a Liverpool fan perspective, it's shite. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. It's sort of turned into a tangent rant, to be honest, because it is a little bit of a piss take. And yeah, we move on. Wolves next. If you want to see more of the live stuff, let me know, because I need to, obviously, we've got the content coming out once a week. We're doing the sort of season by season. I've got another video coming out soon where I'm going to rank the worst signings from every Liverpool summer transfer window. That'll probably be out, I'm hoping, Monday, providing schedules and stuff like that. And then these live ones can come in between as the matches come and go. I'll try and do one for the next one. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the match. And yeah, onwards and up.